The movie begins with a voiceover revealing how strange things have been discovered in China over the years during various excavations. Professor Yang Kailin is one of the scientists involved, and in 1978, he established Post 749 in the Kunlun Mountains, a special team assigned to uncover the hidden truth behind these mysterious discoveries. Hu Baiyi is one of the many soldiers putting much effort into the excavation and befriends Yang Ping, the professor's daughter. After the team's acquisition of yet another enormous skull from a mysterious beast, a flame starts burning inside the cave that eventually causes the cave to tremble and then explode, wrecking their entire camp. Hu Baiyi narrowly escapes death, after which Officer Han Jiangyang, leading the soldiers, prepares their weapons to retaliate. But only Professor Yang and a few workers emerge from the cave. Later that night, Officer Han Juyang forbids everyone from talking about the incident with any outsider, before announcing that a special team will be sent in with Professor Yang to investigate, since a path has opened up inside the mountain. Naturally, Yang Ping wants to help her dad, which also makes Hu Baiyi and Cheng Sun volunteer for the job. The group enters the cave and proceeds along the path until they arrive at the place where the explosion happened. Soon, they notice gigantic statues looking down on them, and the professor claims that an undiscovered civilization has emerged because of the explosion. As they climb down the chasm, Hu Baiyi notices a butterfly-like creature flying around. Eventually, they reach an icy platform with a second chasm in the center, so they descended as well, until they come across an unexplored cave filled with fossils. Soon, they find an exit that leads them to a snow-capped mountain range right in front of them. Professor Yang informs Hu Baiyi that legends claim that this region opens a gate to an ancient ghostly realm where the secrets of the ghostly kingdom are buried. Their conversation is cut short when the soldiers inform them of a massive paw print in the snow. Assuming that the creature might be around, Professor Yang and his men start tracing the trail of paw prints to find the creature that left them, while Han and the rest of the team finish putting in a door at the mountain entrance. They soon notice a swarm of strange-looking bats that Yu Huai also saw in the cave. One of them lands on Yang Pin's sleeve, and nothing happens. But when one of the soldiers catches one of them with his bare hands, the victim suddenly begins to burn with a blue flame until only his bones are left. The soldiers start shooting to scare the bats away, yet many soldiers get burned to death. Things get worse when the giant beast triggers an avalanche and the group starts running away from the mountain. Unfortunately, the snow engulfs many of the soldiers. Meanwhile, the rest of the group is unable to continue as they arrive at yet another chasm. There is nothing left for them to do but jump. So Professor Yang ties Hu Baiyi and his daughter together to keep them safe. They slide down the chasm and enter a ditch with ice needles that stab the remaining soldiers. The only people who manage to survive are Hu Baiyi and Yang Ping, who eventually drop, and the rope catches on a big ice needle. They swing back and forth a few times before the ice breaks, causing the two of them to fall. The scene changes to Hu Baiyi confessing how he managed to survive the fall while dozing off on a train. It is then revealed that only 4 members of the group were able to survive the incident. The now very small team lights some torches and continues their exploration after collecting as many supplies as they could. They soon come across what Professor Yang refers to as the Sacred Palace of Kunlun, a massive cave with a tall tower inside and surrounded by building ruins. Professor Yang has been searching for this tower for a long time because it is said to have 9 levels where demon creatures have been sealed. Professor Yang kneels before lighting a candle that produces a strange tall flame that attracts a swarm of bats who then surround the tower in a red glow. Next, Professor Yang sends Hu Baiyi and his daughter inside the tower because he thinks only the two of them can open the portal. As they enter, the space begins to glow as light emerges from the top of the tower and opens a portal in the sky for the spirits to enter. Everything in the surroundings starts to float while the spirits fill up the cave. That's when Cheng Sun extinguishes the candle because he doesn't like the idea of opening the devil's gates. Everything suddenly vanishes. The group rushes out because the cave is about to collapse, and they don't want to run into the rocks or the bats that are now chasing them. Cheng Sun gives himself up and stays behind to act as bait, dying from the blue fire of the bats and killing a number of them by causing an explosion. However, there are still a number of bats roaming around, and they chase the remaining 3. They manage to escape, but they eventually find themselves at a dead end next to a waterfall. As Hu Bai tries to fend off the bats with a torch, they catch up with him and light a fire on his shoulder. To put out the fire, Yang Ping pushes him over the edge into the water, and the other 2 quickly follow. When Hu Bai and Yang Ping come together underwater, a large dinosaur-like creature quickly separates them before snatching Yang Ping up in its mouth and carrying her off. Hu Bai, who is devastated, swims out and makes his way back to base. A nurse attends to the burn on his shoulder. Officer Han informs him that they have found the dead bodies of a few soldiers, but there's no trace of Yang Ping and the professor. After looking at the photo of the group they took before the expedition, Hu Bai gives up and decides to leave. While riding the train back home, he keeps picturing Kang's son and the other members with him, but gets heartbroken when the illusion fades. So while Officer Han and Scientist Chen Dong are looking for Hu Bai, he exits the train at a station close to the countryside and is picked up by his new employer, Mr. Wang. To lead a peaceful life away from life-threatening creatures, Hu Bai then starts working at Mr. Wang's library. Later, Mr. Wang takes Hu Bai to a nearby restaurant for lunch, where Hu Bai is thrilled to meet his old friend Wang Kaishuan. Hu Bai believes Mr. Wang purposely drove him there. While working at the library, Hu Bai discovers a book on Professor Yang's research named Chronicles of the Ghostly Tribe that includes a drawing of the Demon Tower. That's when Hu Bai realizes that it wasn't the professor's first trip to the tower, and that unsealing the Demon Pagoda was the professor's actual goal on the expedition. He was also aware of the fact that only Hu Bai and Yang Ping could open the portal, which is why he tried to keep them together and safe. The scene changes to a news broadcast revealing that the explorers have discovered a coffin at post 749 containing the body of a person who resembles Yang Ping. They will keep her locked up and under close observation while providing her with treatment for the time being, because she appears to have some mysterious powers that she is unable to control. And since she has no memory of Yang Ping, Officer Han names her the codename Shirley. Back at the library, Hu Bai continues to receive Professor Yang's books. Hu Bai develops a fascination with these legends and spends months researching them with Wang Kaishuan's help. It is revealed that the demon world once had a humanoid race whose origins were from Saturn. They are both the demons' and human successors, and the tower is their legacy. The tower was supposed to be guarded, but 10,000 years ago, humans finally freed themselves, and this race vanished from Earth. However, he still has some unanswered questions, such as how Yang Ping and he were able to open the tower, why the professor even wanted to open it, and who is sending him all these books. Officer Han is shocked to learn that Professor Yang has been found alive in the mountains about 3 years later. The professor is being held in confinement until he gets back to his senses. In the meantime, the mysterious giant beasts are attacking Oil City in West China. Later, the professor reveals that the incident in West China has something to do with the pagoda in the Kunlun Mountains. He's also worried that he might have accidentally opened a portal that allows aliens to enter the Earth. On the other hand, Hu Bai's shoulder scars started bothering him after this incident, and his visit to the doctor revealed his location to Han. One afternoon, Hu Bai's shoulder pain becomes so severe that it suddenly ignites a fire on his back, giving him superhuman abilities that cause the library's furniture to float. Soon, Mr. Wang appears and acts as though everything is normal. He explains that Hu Bai's blood was tainted by a demonic force as a result of the bat attack, giving him extraordinary powers. Hu Bai is confused as to how Mr. Wang is aware of the fire bats and confronts him about it. That's when Mr. Wang reveals that he's the keeper of the vault, and using his powers, he turns the library into an ancient tomb. We then see Prince Yi's vault and all the spirits that died protecting the tomb. Among them is Captain Sun, who dies protecting Hu Bai because the ghostly tribe was looking for him. According to Mr. Wang, Prince Yi, Hu Bai's predecessor, led mankind in the battle against a technologically advanced demon race that had seized control of Earth. Most demons fled the planet after Prince Yi sealed the tower with his own body. However, a few of them hid and secretly intermarried with humans. The demons call themselves the Ghostly Tribe, and want Hu Bai because, as a descendant, he's the only one who can open the tower and free the demons again. Back at Post 749, Officer Han is frantic to find out that his team has lost Professor Yang. All that's left is a note saying that he's going east. He later finds out that Shirley has woken up and claims she has gotten her memories back, so she wants to find her father with Hu Bai. Han travels to the library to send him with Shirley, but Hu Bai doesn't trust him and is reluctant to go. However, he quickly changes his mind when he learns about Yang Ping's return. Mr. Wang believes it is a bad idea for him to go when demons want to capture him to reopen the tower. But Hu Bai is persistent since he wants to find out how Yang Ping has come back to life. Hu Bai asks Mr. Wang to accompany him, but he refuses, claiming he can't leave because he has to protect the vault. He warns Hu Bai not to use the powers inside him as he leaves. Outside the library, he meets Wang Kaishuan, who wants to join him. They travel to North China, where they meet Shirley, Cao Weiwei, Chen Dong, and a number of soldiers. When Hu Bai sees her again, he can't stop crying, but she treats him rudely and introduces herself as Shirley. The group rides camels through the desert. During the journey, Hu Bai asks Shirley how she survived and where she was the entire time, and Shirley confesses she hasn't forgotten him. However, Hu Bai is still skeptical of her. They set up tents to rest for the night, but the very next day, a sandstorm suddenly appears, forcing them to leave as quickly as they can. Things settle down after they cross a force shield that is impenetrable and arrive at the ruins of Oil City. That's when they realize they have actually lost a few men during the escape, including Wang Kaishuan. Turns out, this second group is still in the middle of the desert, that too without their camels. Later, the group in the Oil City has been exploring the area and has only found ruins and dead bodies. So while the second group aimlessly roams around the desert, a demon creature attacks them. They split up as they run away, but the demon kills one of the men. Soon, a second demon shows up and kills two other men, while Wang Kaishuan and Chu Jian escape using bicycles and ride into Oil City. Upon finding out about the demons, Hu Bai wants to leave, but Chen Dong and Shirley want to stay and complete their mission. So while they're contemplating whether to stay or leave, the demons find them. They prepare their weapons and shoot the first beast. That's when a second one shows up behind them. Assuming they've killed the first one, they prepare to attack the second, but the demon flees without hurting them. Shirley runs after the demon, and Hu Bai follows her into an abandoned school where Hu Bai finds several dead bodies hanging from the ceiling as well as a hole in the ground. Outside, the demon they believed was dead mysteriously disappears. Hu Bai follows Shirley's voice and arrives at the tomb of Prince Yi. Meanwhile, the team hides on the top floors of buildings to fire rocket launchers and silver bullets from a distance as more demons have returned to town. They manage to hit a few, but the majority of demons avoid them and climb the buildings to chase them. On the other hand, another demon inside Prince Yi's tomb harms Hu Bai, but Shirley intervenes and dominates it so that it leaves. Then, she uses her powers and makes Hu Bai's lifeless body levitate into the coffin before leaving. Hu Bai wakes up inside the coffin and is eager to escape, while his wounds mysteriously recover quickly. After he calls Mr. Wang for help, a bright light appears and Mr. Wang reassures him that the coffin will give the prince a second chance at life. Hu Bai then finds himself falling through the night and emerging in front of the tower. There, he discovers that the beast that captured Yang Ping brought her to the cave and dropped her on the flame. The queen then took over her body and is now in control of the demons. Outside, Wei Wei dodges the demon by posing as a mannequin, but when she tries taking a picture of it, the demon finds her, after which she flees to hide inside a bus with Wang Kaishuan. However, the demon attacks the bus. The scene changes to Hu Bai confronting the queen's spirit. The queen reveals that, besides him, Yang Ping is the other person who could open the portal and remove the ghostly tribe's fatal curse, which will help them save millions of their tribesmen on Earth. But since Hu Bai knows the truth, he denies helping her. She threatens Hu Bai by telling him that Shirley will kill all his men and points out that if he kills Shirley, Yang Ping will never return. Hu Bai swears he'll find a way, and finding this amusing, the queen sends him back to town. Seeing the demon attacking the bus, Hu Bai quickly shoots the demon to free his friends. The demon attacks him, but since Shirley needs him to open the portal, she tries controlling them. But when the demons won't subdue, she throws a car at the beast to make them go away. Shirley takes Hu Bai in his lap and he tells her how much she looks like Yang Ping. Meanwhile, the demons are about to kill the other members. That's when Hu Bai shoots her 3 times, causing all the demons to disintegrate and the tower to crumble. Admitting Hu Bai is the only one with the power to kill her, Shirley kisses him before falling unconscious and transforming back into Yang Ping. Hu Bai is mourning Yang Ping's death when she suddenly interrupts him and states how happy she is to see him again. Hu Bai picks up her body and carries it to the prince's coffin, hoping it will heal her. He lies down next to her and brushes his forehead against hers, only to see a flashback of her past. Yang Ping has had healing powers since she was a young child, but her mother stopped her from using them. She was unaware that her mother was a descendant of demons until she watched her burn to death in blue fire. Professor Yang spent his entire life studying the tower in the hopes that one day he would be able to save his daughter from ending up like her mother. It is then revealed that they only managed to survive the fall back in the cave because Yang Ping exhausted her powers to bring everyone back to life. Yang Ping expresses her love for Hu Bai and requests him to continue looking for her father. The movie ends as Hu Bai and the team continue their search while a demon standing in the distance watches them leave. With that being said, this is it for today's video.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Leave us a like to help us out, and comment your thoughts on the video. Stay awesome.